We've got some fresh new young talent doing some things that I know you haven't heard before.
1, 2, 3, listen.
You got to have the why, and we know our why. So
you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Yeah. Millions and millions of people have done this already. You can get help, you can get a roadmap, you can save a lot of time, money, and frustration. Welcome to the Value Add Podcast with K&K. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Value Add Podcast with Crystal and Kenny. Today we have Carson Trujillo with us. Carson is a apartment broker or multifamily broker at Marcus and Millichap, and we've known Carson for 3 or 4 years now. He's actually sold us a couple of buildings, and he's sold a couple of our buildings as well.
And he found us some buildings too.
That's what I mean. He sold us a few buildings.
Oh, I thought you meant he sold our buildings. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
He sold us some apartments,
and
he sold some of our apartments.
Some.
There you go. So anyways, we wanted to bring Carson in today to talk about a couple of different things. Like, what does it take to be a multifamily broker? Because it's, in my opinion, a really tough job, and you have to have really thick skin for that. And then the other thing is to just kind of like talk about the market and investing in real estate and all that good stuff. So thanks, Carson, for coming in today.
Yeah, honored to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
No worries. So Carson, I think it's kind of, I know you got some interesting stories, like how you arrived to San Diego. I'm always fascinated by anybody that's kind of goes on a journey to come somewhere and has success, because there's something to say about that. You know, you learn a lot about yourself, and I think it's people can learn from it, because a lot of people, we were talking about this the other day, people move here from other states. They're like, no job, no money. They're like, I just want to be in San Diego. I just want to figure it out. And I don't think people realize just that move. It's a big move. So kind of take us back, kind of where you're from and what's kind of the last, 10 years. I know you guys went through some tough times in the recession, like 10 years, and from 2008 to where you've been now, kind of like a quick summary of how you got out here and had some success.
Yeah, for sure, Kenny. Thanks. So I was born and raised in Kentucky. So I went to school, Kentucky. Yeah.
You can hear that, right? I
yeah.
hear that.
I know my accent kind of goes away that I haven't been there now, but as soon as I go back, it's like right back. Redneck accent for sure.
It's all good.
Both my parents, University of Kentucky alumni, went to college there. It's definitely a college town, not much opportunity when you get out of college. So I was like, I want to go to a big city. So it was like New York or Chicago up north, northeast, but I hated the cold weather, so I wanted to get the hell out of there. So I'm like, where am I gonna go? Finish college, and there wasn't like one city that I didn't have a great opportunity anywhere. I wasn't, I didn't graduated with a business degree. I didn't graduate like to be a doctor or anything. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go where I want to live, and then make my own career there, figure it out. So decided California was the place to be. I thought maybe LA, San Diego.
Did you ever come here before or no?
Never been here before in my life.
So, okay, never been here, okay.
Never been to San
Just like
Diego
pictures, what you heard.
Saw great pictures,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I could never afford to come out all the way to California for vacation, so.
Yeah.
Convinced 2 of my buddies that I went to school with. It took some convincing, but I was like, dudes, let's move out to California, let's do it. It's going to be sick.
That's crazy.
Sold them on, like, the grass is greener on the other side, sold them on the
So you're a salesman just like naturally. Like, this is the thing.
Yeah.
For sure. It was meant for me.
Yeah.
So sold them on this idea, and it was like 3 months after I graduated. We had saved up, I think I'd saved up like $8,000, sold my car, sold all the furniture I had on Craigslist, everything we owned. And we had a 98 Honda Civic.
And what year was this?
This was in the beginning of 2014.
Okay.
Wow. You said 2008.
No,
Yeah.
but we were going to talk about other
I went
stuff.
to high school in 2000.
But we were going to talk about other stuff before that, yeah. So
27 for the record. 27.
Yeah, so 2014, you convince your buddies, you get all your shit, put it in the car, 98 Civic, and you just drive out here.
98 Civic. We each had one suit in the car, right? Because we're like, shit, we don't have any. We're going out there, no jobs. We got to interview when we get out there.
Suit, I love it.
Each had a suit, and we had one printer to print our resumes, and then we had like one of those little jacks to hook into the car to make it work. You know, to give electricity.
Oh my gosh.
So
did you have a laptop?
I had a laptop.
And cell phones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Laptop, cell phones,
and some cash in your pocket.
Just the basics to like get a job.
I had like $8,000. My buddies each had like $4,000 or $5,000, I think, like nothing. So took our country long road trip, went to New Orleans, partied for a couple nights, went to Texas, party.
Of course.
Went to the Grand Canyon on like no sleep, hiked the whole Grand Canyon, which is like 21 miles. Did it in one day, which is there's signs like all over the place. Do not attempt to hike down and back up in one day.
But Carson's a madman.
Yeah, I'm an animal. So
yeah,
we were actually hiking up the Grand Canyon, and it was like it had gotten dark because of course we weren't supposed to do that. We started late. It was dark outside. It was freezing, and there was this this Asian couple. And you could tell they had no clue what they were doing, didn't know where the hell they were, and the guy had started cramping up.
Oh no!
And we were still like 2 or 3 miles from the top, and it got like 8 degrees at night there when we were there. We were there in April. It gets freezing at night, warm during the day but cold at night. The guy had cramped up, and they were screaming for help. So thank God we were like the only other idiots that were on the trail at that time, 9:30 at freaking night.
My
so
God.
Went up there, gave the guy some water and stuff. He still couldn't walk. So we had to hike up another mile to this emergency phone, called in the emergency, and they came in helicopter, lifted him out of there.
Holy, they're like, what are you doing here? Oh my God.
It was super
And you
gnarly.
guys still hiked out of there?
And then we hiked out of there, yeah.
Sick. You did some good deeds. Okay.
Yeah, so I want to say I saved a couple lives.
Yeah, for sure.
On your way. Wow.
So then we continued on the trip, made it out to San Diego, went to LA first. We're like, yeah, this is okay. Came down to San Diego, and we were like, this is the place to be. Like, the lifestyle here is incredible. You kind of feel like you're at home, just like the people here. So it was great. So then it was like, okay, well, we got to find a place to live. So we stayed in the car in the Walmart parking lot. I think it was in Chula Vista, too.
Oh my gosh!
Because we didn't know where the hell we were.
Picked a great spot.
Yeah.
3 dudes in a Civic.
3 dudes. We went in Walmart, like brushed our teeth in there, and then we got like some sleeping pills in there to help us like fall asleep in the car.
Oh my gosh.
Just trying to get some rest, and then like during the day we would go house hunt. So we were driving around, saw a place in Ocean Beach, went to PB, like didn't know anything about the area, and landed there. It was tough to find a place to rent because nobody wanted to rent to us.
It's funny everybody lands in PB. How is that?
Yeah,
Why does everybody land in
every
PB?
person like fresh out of college?
Because
in
it's the
college.
beach, and they saw a bunch of young girls who were like, this is it.
We were driving down Garnett one night when we were just cruising around. We were still living in the car. And we saw like a line of like 100 people outside.
You're like, this is
is Moonshine Beach now, but it used to be Typhoon Saloon.
Okay,
It's like club in PB.
Remember?
So I think that night we slept in like La Jolla because we found that like it was a nicer area to park on the side of the road and sleep in the car. But anyways, finally found a place to live, moved in, 2-bedroom apartment. There was 3 of us. We were about a mile from the beach, and we just slept on the floor, and then got air mattresses, and eventually got mattresses, and we're like, okay, we got to find some jobs. So we all worked whatever we could do to make money. I started off with a recruiting company.
Okay.
Because I actually had interviewed with them before I came out here, but didn't have the job to like secure the job when I get out here. Worked there for like 2.5 weeks, and I was like, "Fuck this! This is not for me. Like, I don't want to do this stuff." I don't know. I think I just wasn't really ready to work yet. I just wanted to like party in San Diego.
Yeah.
So got out of there, and then I was like, "Man, I really need to do some soul searching, like figure out what the hell I want to do." So I spent like a couple months figuring out, and I eventually said, okay, I know I want to do sales. I studied marketing in college, so that makes sense. And then my dad is a real estate developer, develops apartments.
That's
so
right.
That made sense.
That's
And
right.
I looked at the values in San Diego, and I was like, holy shit. Like,
You're like commissions. Okay,
how
this
much
makes
are-
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's 6%?
This times 3 equals this. Okay, yeah, there we go. Yeah.
6%, you
Yeah.
know, of $1 million is a ton of money. And I was like, wow, and the values are so high out here. So I was like, I can make a ton of money doing this.
Yeah.
So I had no clue what type of real estate I wanted to go into, commercial, residential, whatever it was, leasing. I had no clue, but I just knew I wanted to do sales. So started working on my real estate license. Got a job at the Catamaran Resort, which is a badass resort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on the
It's a
beach
cool
right
spot.
there.
Good spot. Okay.
So I went in there and I was like, hey, I just want a serving job just to make money, to like make ends meet while I'm working on my real estate license and stuff. And they're like, well, you have a college degree in marketing and management. Like, we need a manager. Let's just hire you as a manager. And I was like, whatever. I'm like, yeah, I don't have enough money to buy food. Let's just
He's gonna do a job.
And I was also at the time, before I got that job, because it even took me a while to find that job. It took me like a month. So I was, during that time, I was just selling stuff on Craigslist, whatever I could do to make money to eat. And
Were you
That's
intimidated?
like Gary Vee. That's like, hey, go find some stuff and put it on Craigslist.
But you were like, we were talking about that. Like, when you moved out here, you're like, were you like? Because I mean, look, let's be honest. You're coming from Kentucky. California is an intimidating place. It's just intimidating to move out here. Like, anybody can ask. And then to try to find an apartment here when you live here is intimidating. But when you're coming out here, then a job, like, were you just like, this is like, At any time you're like, the fuck was I thinking? This is a bad idea, or we always like just keep pushing through and make it happen, or?
Yeah, I mean, the spirit of the 3 guys, the 2 guys I moved out here with, the 3 of us, like the spirit would like go down at times, you know. But we were young and we were stupid, and it was kind of like my responsibility to keep the group riled up.
You keep selling everybody on this was the right decision.
The whole time, like this went on for months. You know? And I was like, guys, like we can make it. I swear we can do it. You know. Like, look at this. We live right by the beach. Like, look at all these hot chicks. Like, this is awesome. We got to stay here. So, we just hustled. So what I was saying during that time when I didn't have a job, I think it was like a couple months before I got that job at the resort, I was just selling stuff on Craigslist. There's actually a free spot on Craigslist if you ever want to get rid of stuff. And you can go on there and people just give stuff away for free.
He's doing the Gary V flip. Yeah.
So I would go pick stuff up for free. I had like an SUV.
That's literally
so
the
I
Gary
could
V.
fit like mattresses on top or whatever. That was actually kind of my specialty was mattresses. People gave those away for free because they're like, who the hell's going to want to buy a used mattress?
People do, right?
Yeah, especially in PB.
Yeah.
Like they're moving in, moving out and stuff. So I would go pick those up for free. I'd take them. I had a garage.
Gary V would love this guy right now.
I know, right?
Do you know who Gary V is?
Yeah.
So Gary V talks about it. People like, I can't make money. So Gary V says, go to Craigslist, find the free shit, take it, and flip it. Or go to a garage sale, buy it for $10 and put it on Craigslist. And he's like, so he literally, I don't know if you know, he goes to garage sales and he buys stuff and shows people, I just made $1,000 today and you're complaining you can't make extra money. So anyways, back to your story, but he tells this to people, it works. Like,
yeah, trust me. I mean, I wasn't like flowing in the cash.
No, but hey, it's paying enough to live. Yeah.
And buy like ramen noodles.
To get by while you're working on your next thing.
So I'd get the mattresses, I'd like clean them up in my garage, and then I would sell them and I'd deliver them for like $100 a piece. So like wasn't bad. I was doing like a few a week.
Sweat equity, yep.
I think I sold a couple pianos because those were like free items too because nobody wanted to move
They're
them.
so heavy, like nobody wants to
Holy
move them.
shit.
Just the baby ones.
What was the best? What was the best item you sold? What was the best return? What was the best item you sold?
The piano for sure. I think it was like I sold it for like $350.
Wow.
And I paid my buddy like $20 to come with me to help me pick it up.
Oh my god.
Took it to my garage, like shined it up with some furniture polish, and then like put it back out there.
That is so awesome.
So that was the hustle till I got the resort job. So then I was working at the resort, working on getting my real estate license.
You're a manager there?
I was a manager there.
That's crazy.
So, but I took that job as an opportunity. I was like, okay, this is a super nice resort on the beach. There's a ton of rich people that come in here. Like, I got to just network with everybody I can. You know, ask them, see what they can do for me, talk to them, see what they do, and people are.
He is so open, sales, right?
Yeah.
Like, dude, he doesn't give a fuck. He just like, you know, dude, it's good though. That's why, you know, this is what when people are in sales, this is how they have to be. Like, if they're just like this, they're gonna win. If you're hesitant, you know, in sales, you're gonna lose, right? Like, you just came out here like, fuck it, I'm gonna ask people. It's like, it's better off he's in the position he was. If he came out here with a bunch of money entitled, it would be a lot harder. You'd be like, I'm not as motivated to go out, you know? The fact that you had no money and had to do that, that's why you're like, did the hustle, right? Like, think about it, you came out here with $100,000, it'd take you a lot longer to get to that point than it did. Like, for sure.
You know, Kenny, I mean, my fucking back was against the wall, man. It was, you know, fight for your own survival.
See? But that's what it takes, you know? That's awesome.
Yeah, so I was just trying to network, you know, even though I hated that job. You know, I was just trying to network with every single person I could to try to meet somebody that could do something for me and get me somewhere. So finally I was finishing up getting my license. I was interviewing at a couple like residential firms, and I finally met this guy who used to work where I work now, Marcus and Millichap, so Commercial Real Estate Brokerage. He used to work there. His name was Tony Franco.
Oh, yeah, Tony.
I know Tony.
I actually met
because he has his office in PB, right?
Yeah, his office
above the bike shop.
I actually met his wife first.
Okay.
She was super cute, so I started talking to her. and then I heard like, oh, her husband's like this really successful commercial real estate guy. And I was like, oh man, I got to meet this guy. So I already knew what he did when I met him for the first time. And his wife was like, hey, Tony, this is Carson. Like, he's a manager here, whatever. And I was like, hey, Tony, what do you do? He's like, oh, I work in commercial real estate. I was like, oh man, I'm trying to get into real estate. Like, no way. So it just kind of like worked it from there. And then he introduced me to some guys at Marcus and Millichap. Went in there and interviewed with the sales manager. He asked me, he's like, hey, can you make it a year without a paycheck? And I was like, well, no, I can't make it a year without a paycheck. I have to survive. I don't have a big savings account, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to work and wait tables on the weekends and work here during the week. And then it just never got a call back. So left, kept calling him. Didn't answer any of my phone calls. Like nothing. I didn't even know that. I knew some people there. Like I had like some connections there or whatever. And the guy that I met, So I kept calling in nothing, and then I finally reached out to a broker there individually and told him, hey, my buddy's Tony. He gave me your number to call you, and he's like, hey, come in, we'll talk. So I go back into the office, and the sales manager sees me sitting in the lobby, the same guy that I interviewed with, that never called me back. And I was like, hey, Colby, what's up? And he goes, Carson. He's like, what the hell are you doing here? He was like so shocked to see me.
He's like, I didn't call you back for a reason.
Yeah. So,
oh my gosh.
Yep, exactly.
Perseverance.
He did not want me. He was like, no way you're going to be able to have the focus to stay in this business and then also work another job. You're going to be working like 80 hours a week.
You're
like, got to, man.
And
Yeah,
I told
no
him, I
choice.
was like, I'm going to do it. So he didn't have any faith in me. But so I met with the other broker in that office, and he's like, yeah, we'll hire you. Let's do it. I don't care. I don't care what you have to do on the weekends. That's fine. Just get in here.
Not my business. Just get in here.
Yeah, we'll get you started. Work hard. I'm not paying you shit anyways. So
yeah, exactly. What does it matter?
Yeah.
That's what I was like.
It's a commission only job.
Yeah.
Of course, So,
yep.
So yeah, I started in there, and it was just a serious grind. I was working Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights at the restaurant, and then every other minute I wasn't at the restaurant, I was over at the real estate office, making cold calls, building my database, everything you gotta do when you get started. And I had to pay $1,000 training fee to get started at that company, at that real estate brokerage, which is like that was a ton of money to me for someone who has nothing. So that was super tough. But yeah, when you start there, Marcus and Millichap is like one of the best companies to start at because they love investing their time in young people.
Yeah.
Because they want to grow them and teach them their way, their model.
They have a really good program though too to like.
And a lot of the brokers that went out on their own,
and,
they started there, right? They know that.
I feel like some of the most successful brokers came.
They do contribute to like it was Marcus that got them. Even though they it's like they drive you to call, but they realize that's how you because they know that's how you win, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Oh, one more thing I want to touch on before we continue on that. So when I was deciding, hey, what do I want to do? Do I want to get into real estate in the first place? Is it going to be residential, commercial, whatever? What the hell do I want to do with my life? I always said I would never get into real estate because my dad was a real estate developer, developed apartments.
That's right.
I never wanted to do what my dad did.
Because the recession, right?
Well, yeah. So during the recession, I guess we moved to. My dad started his own company. We moved back to Kentucky in 2005. He started his own condo development
right
company.
As the market's booming.
2005. So it's like kicking ass. He's like, hey, I can start my own condo company. We're going to build a ton of condos downtown Lexington, Kentucky, which is already like a small town, college town. So first project they built, 100 units, badass, made a bunch of money. Second project they built, I think it was completed in like 2009. They finished 2008, 2009. It was like 200 units.
Yeah.
Class A, nice condo product.
A rental or for sale?
For sale.
Oh.
Yeah, these are condos,
condos,
for sale. They
not
were
apartments.
selling all these off individually.
Should have been apartments.
It was in the condo boom. So they built these really nice, like Class A, nice shit. They had to sell them as condos and make any money.
It didn't pencil as apartments.
So
yeah.
then the market turns, right? 2008, 2009, market turns, and they couldn't sell a single one of that second project. Not a single one.
Wow, not one out of 200.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Any of them. So then they were like, oh, well, shit, what the hell are we going to do? We have this company. We have 200 condos we just built. Like, we have to rent them out. We got to do something. We can't sell them.
Yeah.
So they started renting them out, and they were not a property management business. They didn't know what you guys know. Kenny and Crystal over here, they weren't experts at property management and building management business in the past, so they didn't know what they were doing. And on top of that, the rents that they were getting
we're not covering the debt.
Couldn't cover it, because they built them. They had to sell them off as condos. So that happened. Couldn't cover the debt payments, all that stuff. My dad's partner, one of them was an attorney, and another guy who was like a real estate guy, had a bunch of money. They all lost their ass, lost everything.
How long did that go on for? Like drag out until it really just collapsed?
It dragged out till I don't know, like 2 or 3 years. It wasn't. I mean, it wasn't that long. They tried to make it work.
But that's long when you're every day in that grind.
Like it's consuming your life. Like
yeah.
He probably just knows like this is not the plane is.
I mean, they're losing they're probably losing like $10,000 a day or whatever it was.
Yeah,
they were losing a ton of money. So my dad's company filed bankruptcy, lost everything he had. He was freaking out. Had to cash out his retirement to pay. I have 2 younger siblings too, so I was in college at the time, which was a good time to be in college. But I had a little brother that was like 14, a little sister that was like 9. So he's
Wow.
got to pay for them.
And they're living through this like chaos.
Living through this chaos, running out of money, didn't know what the hell to do. I remember at the time my dad and I were doing all these crazy jobs, anything to make a buck, and I was just helping them out, you know.
Wow.
I waited tables at the time, but we were like also building stuff. My dad's a developer, so he knows how to like do contracting too. We were building patios. The house that we lived in, this is a crazy story. It's kind of nasty. The house we lived in, it was a really old, it was like a 100-year-old house, and it had copper sewage pipes in it.
Okay.
Ooh.
And you can sell copper for a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right? It's like worth a lot. You can go scrap it. So my dad and I crawled under the house. This is like one of his great ideas. He said he invented the powerless drill, by the way. So, this is like one of his great plans, mastermind ideas. We went under the house and cut out all the copper sewage pipes. And like my shit and piss was like in the pipes. And we're like cutting these things out. To sell them, and we replaced it with PVC piping because it was cheap, you know.
Holy.
So we like that's how tough things got. You know, we had nothing. You know, so just trying to survive and take care of my younger siblings.
How's your dad doing now?
He's doing great. He's kicking ass now.
Is he back to building, or?
He's back to building. Yeah.
How long did it take him to recover and get back on his feet? You think, and really getting like to get it to back to what he wanted to do?
Man, I mean, I think he probably recovered. I don't know, just like 4 years ago.
So he
like
was in limbo for like 5 years, like
2014, 15. He started doing like good again, you know.
So that do you think that because you know, I think a lot of people just with real estate, and because your guys' generation, like you're below us, like you guys are younger, and then your brother and sister is like, you guys grew up where it was like booming, and then all of a sudden it just went, and you went through that, like it's almost, you went through a depression in your household. That's what you went through. It wasn't a recession. It was like if you're cutting a copper pipe to sell, you're just in a depression. Some people went through a recession. Some people went through depression. Some people, their parents made a bunch of money during the down because they're, you know, I mean, right? So does your sister and brother, like, do they understand, like, are they jaded a little bit, like? Are they kind of just didn't even phase by? Were they jaded? Are they jaded by life?
They're definitely somewhat jaded. I mean, they were super young, so he tried to like kind of hide. My dad tried to kind of hide that stuff from them, but they knew what was going on. You know, like times were tough. So, but I wouldn't give that up for the world. I think that taught me a ton of really powerful lessons that I carry with me today. You know.
What do you think it taught you?
Hard work. I mean, I did some of the most
like whatever it takes.
I mean, whatever it takes. You're cutting shit, you're covered in your own shit because you're cutting pipes out of below your house, right? I mean, whatever it takes. And then my dad had to move around all over the country just to find work. When the market finally did start picking up, he was in Orlando, DC.
They're still in Kentucky now, or?
Now they're in Phoenix.
That's right.
Now they're in Phoenix, and Phoenix is kicking ass. They're building high rises and stuff, so they're killing it now. Things are good.
Are they building apartment buildings or lease? Or are they building like condos to sell?
No, he's doing apartments
to lease.
Yeah.
That was his only condo gig. Was that one in the condo boom? He was always an apartment developer.
And it would, but then he would sell them or have somebody else manage them.
Yeah, he would. Well, he always worked for big corporate companies.
Worked for a company.
So is he by himself though? And
when he went on his own, he built the condos, right?
Right.
So is he working for himself or a big company now?
Now he works for a big company.
Okay, so they just build like Class A.
I mean that one experience fucked him up. You know.
Yeah, he's like, no thanks.
He's like, yeah, no thanks. I'm gonna go work for the big guy
and just get a nice paycheck, and I'm not gonna do that volatile.
Yep. Yeah. So back to what I was getting at, that's one of the biggest reasons I was like, I'm never going to get into real estate. Look what happened to my family. And then, of course, you know, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And here I am doing real estate sales now.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, but honestly, it's like the thing is always like think about people is like what you can do from people in your past, your parents, is you can learn from them. Just because they did something and failed, you can say, okay, but they failed because of, like, your dad deviated. If he would have just went out and said, okay, I'm going to build apartment buildings and I'm going to have somebody manage them, he'd have probably...
Maybe it would have been different.
Well, probably because of the ratio of the loan and all that.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I mean, he definitely took a big risk. I mean, when he started his own company, he was probably, like, he was just, like, about 40 years old. You know, so that's, like, I don't know, I feel like that might be a little late to, like, take those big risks. So maybe that's something I learned. Hey, take big risks when I'm young, because I never want that to happen to my kids. I never want my kids to have to go through that stuff that I went through, you know?
Well, I mean, you even see that, like, with people buying apartments now. I mean, if somebody's buying a building like they're our age, we might be like, hey, give me the junker, we'll fix it up. We have the energy. And somebody's like 70 years old, they're like, look, I'm going to exchange into something that we did because we don't have the energy for that anymore. We're not interested in dealing with that. We just want to buy something that's done. Here's the money. Give us the 5%, whatever, and let me just go live my life. You know, because it is, right? Like you're not, but that person, when they were young, they were doing what we were doing or something, right? Because the energy, time, and money and all that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're taking on a risk. You know, you guys would take on more risk than someone maybe older, retired.
Yeah.
You know,
or they're just
they don't
busy.
ever want to work again or whatever it is, you know.
And development's like a whole different animal. Like I think too, like being able to project what the market's going to be like 3-4 years out, 5 years out is like just completely different than you're a builder. Like you're building things, but like all that foresight that you really have to have is scary. Like I even think about that in today's market. I would never develop anything because that for me is like the biggest risk is like, sure, it's great today, but what about 3, 4, 5 years from now when you're trying to sell, or even 2 years? You know,
yeah,
it's just,
for sure.
It's
Absolutely.
hard to kind of.
It's just there's so many unknowns. You know, I mean, buying existing and remodeling. It's worked for us.
So tell us a little bit though about like getting started in brokerage, because I do think like it's such a grind, and like you said, you don't get paid until a deal closes. So there's a lot of people I'm sure you worked with, and it took a lot of time. Like how quickly did you make your first commission, and like how many hours a week were you working, and how many calls on average did you make a day, like that kind of thing?
And then people like in your business, they come in and they just go, right? You see people come in, they're like, I can't hack
It's a revolving door. I mean, I've been at my company now for 4 years, and probably 100 people have came and gone.
Yeah.
I mean, there was like 3 last week that quit or got fired.
They just can't. They're just not. Do you think it's just because they're not serious, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
You have to
tough.
be really
It's just a
committed.
tough business. So I mean, like back to what Crystal was saying, when I started, you come in there, you're paying to come to work every day, right? Because you're commission only, so you're paying for your gas to get to work. We had to pay for our parking. We had to pay for our training in the business. You know,
Like,
so it's like, what the fuck? I'm like, I'm paying to come to work. This doesn't make any sense. I've never done this before. You know? But I knew, I just had that vision that I knew that if I stuck it out, it would be worth it.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, when I started, I was working the 2 jobs like we talked about. So I was working like 70, 80 hours a week. Like every single moment I was working. My girlfriend lived in LA at the time, and I'd go like a month without seeing her because I was so busy. Never had a break to do anything. And I was like, I was sleeping like Kenny sleeps now, like 3-hour naps per night.
At least you're prepared for when
yeah, that was it. Not even like going to bed. It was just like a nap.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
It.
Oh,
So
I'm
it's
sure.
just constant grind. And then when you start off, the way that I started, it was just making cold calls. I built a database of the areas that I wanted to work. So I took like 2 zip codes, got every single property that was 5. I work multifamily apartments, so every single property that was like 5 to 50 units within those 2 zip codes. Found the owners and just cold calls every single day, all day, every day.
Just building relationships.
So making like 50 to 100 calls a day, just pounding the phone.
Dealing with rejection, hung up.
Yeah, just constant rejection, getting hung up on like 5 times a day. Fuck you, never call me again. Take me off your list.
Would you take them off your list?
No.
I love it.
We have a joke that when someone says that, when someone's being a big asshole, we say, hey, you want me to put you on the list? And they're like, what list?
Yeah.
The list of people that don't want to make money.
That's awesome.
So that's our little saying sometimes. But anyways, yeah, it's just a constant hustle every single day. I mean, when I started, I wasn't making any money. Every day I was telling myself, like, don't quit, don't quit, don't quit. You know, it was
How long did it take? How long did it take
like
to
when
get a
did
deal?
you get your first commission?
Most people make their first commission, I would say maybe like an average, like a little under a year. I made my first commission in 5 months being there.
Nice. That's still a long time.
Yeah, made my first commission, $12,600. Went straight to the resort and put in my 2 weeks notice. I was like, I'm out. $12,000 can float me for like 6 months. You know, the way I'm living off ramen noodles, like I got to focus all my energy on the real estate business.
And when did your next commission come after that? Was it pretty soon, or
no, it wasn't.
Yeah, you're like, oh shit, did I do this?
Yeah.
Did I pull the plug too early?
So quit that, and then my next commission didn't come for another 6 months. I was like floating on fumes to my next commission.
Whoa.
So it really was. Yeah, I mean, it really was.
And then you started rolling.
Right. Yeah. So 6 months first commission, another 6 months to my second paycheck, and then it was like 3, 4, 5, 6 in the next like month. You know, it was like a light switch turned on.
And I mean, you met us by calling.
Yeah, I met you guys cold call.
I mean, it's like, you know, it's funny. We get called all the time, and I used to be like a while ago, I'd get annoyed with it, and then I remember, I don't know, somebody was like, some big apartment owner, I don't know who it was like, we were talking to him. He's like, why do you get annoyed? I'm like, he goes, just become friends with them because they're going to give you deals. And I never thought of that. I'm like, okay. He's like, just talk to him for 5 minutes. Because
I'm always like nice too.
No, because he goes, a lot of people are assholes to him and they're not going to want to work with you. Then I started going, okay. Then people call me, okay, cool. This what, and I'm like, I just take the 10 minutes and go, look, this is what I'm doing, da 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 da, and like send me stuff. But I'm like, I don't want to be a jerk to you or anybody else, because if I was calling somebody and you're an asshole to me,
and also
so
too, like if you're going to be in the business for a long time and you want to be an apartment owner, you do want to know the people who are in your community, and they have a lot. You have so much valuable information, I'm sure, because you like you said, you probably know every single owner in your area. You've talked to them, you know them by name. If I said a name, you'd be like, oh yeah, that guy who owns it, blah blah blah. Like you kind of know that.
Just walked into your office.
Exactly.
Yeah, right before we came here, we have a client in here. You know him.
So I think that's the thing is like, you know, if anybody watches this, you should be nice to people, because like you said, is you just never know if you're calling and it could be a time for them to bring a deal to them or something. You just don't know, and then you're more likely to.
And also, I think being in sales too, I realize like you just don't have to be rude to people. Like I feel bad. I mean, it took a lot of courage for that person to pick up the phone and call you, and like I don't want to be a jerk to them.
Crystal's easy. Crystal's the type.
Yeah.
Remember, some kids would be at the door. Next thing I know, I'm like, dude, why'd you buy like all these M&Ms? So I felt bad. I'm like, just give the guy the $10. I don't know, I was crap in the house. Like,
okay, well, what about the time when Kenny rejected the kid? He was outside crying, and I was like, see?
No, I ran down the street and I gave him $20.
He did, but
I just said, hey, bro, we don't want these cookies. Here's $20.
Yeah.
He's
did
like,
Crystal make you do that? Or
no,
did
I
you
did
do
it.
that
I did it. I did it.
I was like,
he's like, you sure
kid.
don't? I know, I don't want the cookies, dude. Just take the $20. Like, and I was like, he was crying, like, I'm never gonna. I was like, oh my gosh, is this guy serious right now? It's crazy. But
so
no, but
basically,
he wasn't lying about the story, and he walks down the street like crying and bawling. I was like, he wasn't lying. Like he literally was like, I'm like, here, bro, here's $20.
So now back to the thing. Like, what would you say, like, the best piece of advice to say? Okay, so you have those people, those 100 people, that revolving door that you've seen at M&M of people. Like, what would you say to them to kind of help encourage them, or to somebody who's, like, looking to get started in the business? What would be your best piece of advice?
Don't give up, because it's tough. It's super tough. I
Yeah.
think they say, like, the statistic is 5% of the people that make it.
Yep.
And it doesn't take, like, a rocket scientist to make it in our business, right? It's just hard work.
But
Yeah.
if you had a year,
dedication.
if you had a year and didn't have the money saved, and you worked your ass off, you just knew that you would probably make it, right? Like for somebody.
Yeah, if you put the work in, though.
Yeah.
But I think the best people in our business that have the best
Have a
success
second job.
are the ones that have their back against the wall, right?
Yeah.
Because they have no other option. You know, they have no other option.
If
but
mommy
to
and
succeed.
daddy
The
are
only
floating
way is
them,
up.
it's
Yeah.
not very motivating.
They're comfortable, right? They're sitting back comfortable. They're not that motivated. They're going home at 5 o'clock. I'm working till midnight, 1 in the morning, going home for like my nap, you know, and then coming back. That's it. I mean, I got super friendly with like the janitors in our office, because they would always come around like 12 o'clock, 1 in the morning, and clean the office, and I was the only one there, hanging out, still working.
You would be the only one.
Yeah, like all the time.
Yeah.
Hustle.
Well, that's...
So, you know, the thing about Marcus and Millichap, I mean, you guys have a huge presence, obviously, but where are you guys seeing the market at right now? I know your primary focus is apartment buildings, if not all of it, but what is you guys have all the data, all the information. You guys are massive. What's the next, 12 months, 24 months? What are you guys kind of seeing out there?
Yeah, so our company puts out a ton of research, because we're all over the country. We have 84 offices and something like 1,600 agents nationwide. So we like really have our pulse in the market. So what we're seeing is that the market hasn't been overbuilt, and then banks aren't over leveraging like they did back in the day in the last recession.
I'd say,
right?
sure.
So we think there's a good level of supply and demand in the market. So we're seeing a healthy 2019 for commercial real estate.
Is that specifically apartments, or do you think like
No.
even all property types, like
All
office,
property
industrial?
types.
Yeah. Okay.
Rates are still relatively really good. They just corrected back a little bit.
Unemployment's extremely low, so not just apartments where people need places to live, but unemployment's low, so office buildings, because people have to have somewhere to work, right?
Yep.
So across the board, we're very positive for 2019 in commercial real estate. And then back to apartments, people want to rent now; they don't want to buy.
It's more affordable to rent here than it is to buy.
Yeah, exactly. So it's more affordable, and it's the lifestyle now. People want to chase their dreams. They want to move all over the country and be able to move here and there. So
like you did.
That's not the American dream anymore, to own a house.
They're not ready to settle down. And even someone, for myself, I mean, I'm 27, and I don't really want to buy a house. I want to buy an investment property.
Yep.
You know, I'd rather rent
smart.
and then make money off an investment.
Yeah.
Do you feel like I mean, I'm 39, you're 27. So you're definitely in the middle, but do you feel like a lot of, when you have conversations with people your age, your friends, you're around people, is that just like because when we were, if you were to go back to in 2004 or whatever, 3, we were your age and everybody's like, fucking buy a home. You got to buy it. Like, it wasn't investment. It's like, you don't know a home. You haven't
and
made
even
it.
now, a lot of our friends, that's like the thing. Like, you gotta own a home. So
No,
I
but
feel like
you know what I'm saying is like
is
it was cool to own a
different.
home. Like, it just didn't matter. Like, come over to my house.
Well, it was a status. It was like I kind of made it. Like, I bought a
you
house,
guys
and
just
now
nobody really gives a shit about that. I just feel like nobody.
Like, is that important to your friends to buy, or what's the kind of?
No, it's not. They all just want to invest and make money that way. They don't care to buy.
Well, you've already sold them on all of it, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're selling your
but
friends
just-
on everything.
But just people in general, like, you're not. It's like it's just not like that's not their thing anymore. They saw so many people get screwed. I mean, I think.
Sure. My only friends that are like living that American dream of buying a home are the ones that still live in Kentucky. So like the ones that are back there.
Totally.
Because you can buy a home for super cheap out there too, and that's like they're just gonna settle down.
And life's a little slower, right?
It's super slow
Yeah.
there, yeah. That's why I can never go back. Staying in
Yeah.
San Diego.
I always not that there's anything wrong with the way they live, but I grew up in Oklahoma, so it's kind of the same thing. Like, when I was your age, even, I had friends that had like 2 and 3 kids and like were married and everything, and they would be like, Crystal, like, you're living this crazy life. Like, they must think, your friends from high school and things must think like you're the wild guy or the crazy guy because they're married and probably have
You're like,
kids.
actually,
and,
we're living the normal life.
Yeah.
Right.
We really are.
It's such
They
a
just don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Yep.
Right. So they don't know how great it is over here, and that there's other things out there in the world. And you should
Or it
look
just
out
seems
and
so like out of reach, right? It
Right.
just
Or
seems so crazy.
Fast paced. You got to do this. It's overwhelming. But honestly, it's like, to me, going to that slow place is overwhelming to me. Like, when I go there, it's like, even though it's slow, I'm like, it's overwhelming, are you guys talking about, obviously, like, a lot of the talk is like a recession coming up. Are you guys, is there any talk in your company about, like, if the recession comes, where they see anything with commercial, or are you guys addressing that?
Yeah, they don't say that word in our office.
That's a bad word.
Yeah. Well, no, I wonder, because I mean, even a lot of the smart people, they're not really, recession's not like, oh, this is going to happen. So I was wondering if you guys were kind of.
Yeah, I mean, our mindset is just, we're going to keep grinding no matter what happens. We're going to keep working hard.
Well, there's always opportunity, right? And you guys work with
No
the
matter
real
what
estate
market you're
investors
in.
that some people have a lot of money, some don't. So you know that there's like, okay, well, if things go down, there's all these people that are buyers because they have money,
Yeah, there's always going to be transactions happening.
Yeah.
And we even saw it. I mean, even in 2008 and 2009 and 2010, like we said, a lot of people, the people who had money just made a lot more money, and the people who didn't have money just didn't make any money, but like they didn't have anything. But if you have cash, even in those times, there's a ton of opportunity. So I think, like you said, there's opportunity in any market. It's just doing your research and knowing where to hit. And I always tell my clients, like, knowing, like, what's your model, and you've got to kind of stick to it, and know your area and know the location and all that good stuff too. So what do you think is like the best investment, and why? Like, apartments or office, industrial, retail? I mean, you're an apartment broker, so I'm assuming that you think apartments are the best investment, but do you have like a whole philosophy and theory on why that?
Well, I mean, this is what we hear all the time, and I believe it. People are always going to need somewhere to live.
Yeah.
Right. So
For sure.
there's always going to be demand in apartments.
That's what I say. Yeah.
Especially in great areas like San Diego.
Yep.
There's always people moving here. Yeah, a lot of older people are fed up and they're getting out of the state because tax laws and the government, whatever. But there's always people moving here. There's always a huge influx of people into San Diego, so it's always going to be a great market for multifamily. Versus maybe like retail, or Amazon's taking over the world, right? So I'd be a little more skeptical about buying like a Walmart or something like that, any kind of retail store. I think dollar stores are pretty safe because that's a different
7-Eleven,
market.
things like that.
Get that on Amazon, right? It's kind of Amazon proof, but definitely like fast food, triple net investments, stuff like that. Those are more Amazon proof than any kind of retail where it's like a shop storefront.
Yeah, and I always say with office too, like I think that's the first thing that a business does. Like, a lot of small businesses, they just go work out of their home when the economy starts to contract a bit. So I've always thought office was a little bit nerve-wracking personally. I think I probably wouldn't go there. But because like you said, we can go
Well,
work at
you
home
take
if we need
San
to.
Diego and the Recession office did not do well. It got
Yeah.
clobbered.
Yeah,
just
And
because
took a long time to recover too.
Yeah.
Think about like WeWork and those companies now that have shared office space, so they're eliminating more office
Yep.
to save people money. So, I think multifamily is always going to be. You can't go wrong there. It's always going to be a strong investment.
Are you guys kind of wrapping up? Are you guys? I mean, it's such a big subject, but are you guys hearing, and is there a lot of chatter about the opportunity zone here in like San Diego?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been doing my research on that, and that went into effect at the beginning of last year, 2018.
Yep.
But it's taken almost a whole year for people to figure out exactly how it works and how they can take advantage of it. So absolutely, the government's identified tons of zones in distressed areas all over the country that you can invest in, and you have some pretty good tax advantages to take capital gains, and it could be out of stocks or out of assets, real estate, and you can reinvest that and defer your capital gains tax till 2027.
Wow.
Now you still have to pay it in 2027, but if you do it this year, you get a 15% break. If you do it over the next 2 years, you get a 10% break off that capital gains. But then whatever property you're buying, if you hold that for 10 years, you still pay that gains off what you exchange or what you traded over. You still have to pay that, but then whatever gains on top of that you have over the next 10 years, there's no capital gains on that.
So if you invest, just to break it down, I sell a building, I've got $1 million gain. So instead of paying X right now, right, whatever it is, what is it? 30%, 25%, is that what gain is?
35%, yeah. It's,
Then you have,
350
but then you
grand.
have state
Yeah.
too, right? I think so. Let's just say you pay 50%, for 500 grand is gone.
Mhm.
You basically can kick the can down the road. So like an exchange, and then let's say I buy this building, and I add value in. All of a sudden, I made $2 million, so I'm carrying $3 million forward. You're saying is you're only going to pay $500,000 on a $3 million gain in 10 years.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
But somebody can sell. I've got Apple stock right now, $1 million. I think the market's going to correct in stocks, which we probably all do. And you're like, I need to get the hell out of here now. I made my money. I can sell that gain and put it into an apartment building and kick that down the road too.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Time to sell Apple and Amazon stock and put it into real estate.
That's what Carson says.
Commercial real estate. Get rid of that stuff, and you could take out with your original investment. You could take that back, and you're deferring your taxes too. So you can take that back, get some money, and then you're only investing the gains on that whatever that stock or that real estate. So that's my pitch for the next week is sell your stock and let's buy some real estate.
There you go. I mean,
Cool.
That's a pretty good trade.
So what's for 2019? What's going to be your focus this year? Anything new, or just with work, or anything going on in the market that you guys are focusing on, or just this?
Yeah. So for me, Kenny, just building my team up.
Yep.
So I'm hiring a couple new people this year, full-time junior agents that'll be calling for me. I already have one. I'm gonna hire another probably 2 this year, and then a full-time assistant.
Smart.
So we'll start growing the team, and then I can just expand my reach into all the markets of San Diego. So really a focus on growing the team and then marketing. And I know we've talked about that a little bit. As generations are changing and ownership's changing, there's a lot of people in their 70s, 80s, 90s right now. They're a huge transfer of wealth passing down their apartment buildings. And it's a lot of younger ownership now. So we want to get out and take advantage of technology that they're all seeing and the marketing that we can do through that. So just like this and whatever else, all the stuff you guys are doing is awesome. So
Yeah, it's entertain, educate, and close. And I think that's what it is with the younger generation is you got to get them excited about, entertain them about, investing, and then you got to educate them on what the hell it is, right? And then you got to close them. That's kind of what it is. So for Crystal and I, we're focused on, but that's what it's right. I don't think people really, that's why when we tell people this is important is everybody's like, but my clients aren't like that. I'm like, yeah, but it's not about your clients. It's about your client's kids or the grandson or even their son that's going to come into the business and say, oh, Dad, I'm running the portfolio, and you're going to catch their attention on, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever it is, right? Those kids are not watching TV. They're not, it's a different approach. So I think using video and all these pieces of technology, which is literally just sweat equity and putting it out there because it's really cheap. Some of it's free to put out, right?
yeah. Yeah,
And
and I think there's just a huge opportunity there, especially in commercial real estate.
nobody's doing it.
Because nobody's doing it. It's
Literally
all
nobody.
Old school. I mean, cold
Monty,
calls are still
nobody.
great. We can never stop cold calling because we're gonna get old people that way. But I mean, there's a lot of new things you can do that our industry isn't doing and taking advantage of, which is we're gonna capitalize on over the next 1 to 5 years for sure.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome. Well,
Well, Carson, thanks for coming in. Nice chatting. Good to know your stories. And,
your story is amazing. I mean,
yeah.
I think it's like super motivating and inspiring for people who want to be in the business, and also for your clients to know how hard you freaking work to get here. So
Yeah, we're not stopping, so we'll keep doing deals together for sure.
awesome.
Cool. All right, brother.
Thanks.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.